want to do today is congratulate you for being here and continuing your learning, because there is no better time to retool than now. I mean, if business is down, there's less risk in changing some things up. But changing it up and finding a place for the new is what we're going to learn about how to do that. What I am trying to do too is to distill some principles, 3, that apply to you as a human, as a leader, and to your company and your business effort. So they apply in both dimensions. You know, I knew I was onto something big when I got the experience to lead the green energy company from a blank sheet of paper. And so I journaled it. I journaled it for 10 years, and a lot of that's in my book. So I commend journaling to you. And for those who are fastidious note takers, you have a little handout on the 3 points, because I'm hoping to bring it back to some things you can use in your business, no matter what it is. Now, Find Your Scream of Joy is a yes. It is Shaun White with the American flag winning snowboarding, or Lindsey Vonn with her gold medal. It's Diana Ross singing Ain't No Mountain High Enough. It is actually a phrase that comes from a musician's success. When they find that groove, they find their voice that is unique. So that's where Find Your Scream, Live Your Dream comes from. Well, what I found is when you work through these 3 principles, it has an unintended win-win, which is this ultimate productivity that we achieved. And I've got some stories about how we did that. Here's the old light bulb, and this is the efficient light bulb. This produces the same amount of light, does the same work, but guess at how much less energy it is. Anyone? 80? What? 70? 65%. So if there's anything you can do in your home and business, because 1/3 of it is typically lighting, that's yours. So if there's anything you can do that's simple, is to change to those light bulbs, and you can probably have about a 15% reduction in your electric bill, and those are very general numbers. So what we want to do is be in our full potential, and when we are, we just work smarter and more efficiently, not harder, and produce the same with less, and that's how you get your triple, adding 3 people. So what we did, if you came into APS Energy Services on day 1, I had every single person take a DISC and values study. It's not Myers-Briggs, because only 20% of who you are is your personality. 80% is what you value. And so I invested in each person learning about herself or himself. And then, because so many people get lost in Western society, you're supposed to grow up to be a doctor or lawyer, which I obediently followed and took a 20-year detour. So I'm here hoping you don't do that. And so we got to have each person understand their strengths, and then I had a lot of flexibility in my workforce. I had a person come in as a contract analyst. It was obvious she was a pricing whiz. When that job came open, I said, Loretta, why didn't you go apply for pricing? She did, and she replaced 2 people. So I know it works. And also what you learn then is, since we all had this common base of understanding about each other, we learned when we talked past each other. Because I come from a results orientation, and maybe you come from a people orientation. Another big thing about alignment is, again, when we took these surveys, if your values are one thing, but you're showing the world something different, your mask, that misalignment can make you very sick and very stressed. And so it's a very helpful tool. But I think the best tool with myself and my workers for being out of alignment is, where does your body routinely hurt? Is it your back? You know, is it your shoulder? Is it your neck? Your body does not lie to you, and when you are out of alignment, it will manifest itself. And for women, if you are not caring for yourself and you put everyone else in the world first, guess where that dis-ease often goes? Cancer or heart. Another huge cost in the workforce and lack of productivity is, of course, obesity, a huge driver to many, many ailments. And obesity is a really interesting thing. We did a lot of fun challenges. I love bundt cake, and I eat bundt cake. And I know that Terry and I like our wine. We have a little side side conversation. You know, and so you know, that is this is not about diets. It's not about restrictions. That absolutely does not work. It's just about good informed choices and having a list of trade-offs. And you know, what is this zero trans fat stuff? What does that mean? It's so confusing. So we used to have little games we played where I'd bring in like 2 Reese's cups and then one of those health food bars, Metra RX or whatever. They were like the exact same contents. You know, so there's a whole lot to learn, and really, again, back to journaling, so much of eating is behavioral, why we eat and understand. People figure out what they're paid to do. How many of you have kids? Great, all right. So our kids, too young, well, it's younger now, I think they're probably 13 when they get their cell phone. And it had to come out of their allowance in part. They figured out what was on peak rates and what wasn't, like that. I mean, so people know what they're paid for. They know what incentives you set. So you need to really examine, are you sending the right message? Motivating is, I want to get you to do what I want you to. And inspire is, you're doing it because you want to. It's like volunteers. And if all your employees, or you, are doing it because you want to, see, I'm doing this because I want to. You all want to be in this spot. It's the productivity is a result. It just is. Your head has access to 5% of the information that's out there. Your heart, your subconscious, your intuition has access to 95%. I mean, your subconscious is the doorway to infinite knowledge. But in Western society, we don't really learn how to get there. I mean, we're so much in our head. And so that, I got to incubate this with my guinea pig employees without them even knowing it was happening. And we created this room with 2 big computer screens, and then all this data would pop up. Because with energy, like this building, if you turn up the air conditioning, a power plant literally has to rise within 5 seconds. You really can't store much electricity. It's dynamically produced. So we would have in all our businesses, all those campuses, Cisco, Boeing, enormous amounts of data. Every 15 seconds we get what they're using. And we wanted to figure out, how can we help those businesses be smarter about their energy use, their bills, have more money to pay teachers and educate, you know, our youth. So we had training with an intuitive, actually, my engineer male, and they were doubters, but they became believers. They were kicking and screaming in the beginning, but we took a select group that wasn't so opposed. And we taught them how to get in a more subconscious state. And then all the data would come up, and it was in a very quiet room, and they'd look for patterns. If you want to do more of something new, you have to let go and make the room for it. And that's what I find, like the Y. I love the Y. I'm an avid volunteer of the Y, but it's like you want to do everything. And what I'm going to talk about here briefly is focusing on what you do best. So this was a tool we used to get out of our head, actually, and to be more qualitative. And whatever your issue is, like how do we get more customers that are good customers? That would be a good problem to analyze. So here's the money you make from your customers. High amount of money in this quadrant, low in this quadrant. Here's the effort, the resources, the cost of sale, right? High cost, low cost. So the sweet spot is high dollars, low effort, right? So then we would actually, with a little quantitative help, my Tahiti guy would come in, my CPA, and tell us net profit-wise, as best we could, where, you know, how much money we made on it, and we would plot them. Well, why are we doing all this? They are low effort, but they're low reward here especially. High effort, low reward, how can we make more of those this customer? And so just a real simple tool when things get so chaotic to analyze problems. Again, just to try to, and if you take 7 good breaths before you go there, that helps too. Because, you know, we get so busy and we're going to leave a legacy whether we think about it or not. So are you aligned? Have you found your scream? Are you living your dream? And which light bulb are you? Lakos.